fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going the outside of both of them. Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my God! Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Ozicar Skip Barber Series. Getting ready for round 4 tonight from Silverstone, the historic Silverstone circuit, and the historic version of that historic circuit. And it is Season 3 that we are in right now, and you are seeing it all live right here on Simspeed TV, presented, of course, by Simfinity and Virtual Motorsport Mentor. My name is Ryan Jones, and alongside me, as always, David Haynes. Jay Kennedy is behind the scenes. David, we're at the 2008 Silverstone historic Grand Prix circuit. A few alterations, quite different to the Silverstone we're all used to nowadays.
Yeah, indeed, g'day Ryan. We've got bridge corner instead of the infield and the loop. We've also, we've cut out a couple of the chicanes as well, which I think will really bring in the slipstreaming of these Skip Barbers that they're absolutely known for. We get to skip the Abbey chicane. We kind of skip part of, I think it's Club and Vale there. And all of that is going to keep the average speeds just a little bit higher around this old Grand Prix layout of Silverstone.
Yeah, it makes the run down into that little dip where bridge is right there, actually. Quite interesting, actually, because it's a flat-out section and it offers up some moves that could happen into a corner where overtaking isn't the greatest possibility. But here's your starting grid for race 1, our 7-lap sprint race. Skurlock is on the pole. Kobe Williams will start alongside him. Matthew Mites and Mitchell McLeod share row 2. Paul Beatty and Sean Doyle are from 5th and 6th. Braden Martin and Peter Wilkinson line up 7th and 8th, and Nathan Verney, Mario Vartanian round out your top 10.
Over the page, Dennis Hancock's going to start in 11th with Julian Mookie in 12th. Leon Williams, 13th place. Ira Felberg in 14th. Vic Bentveltson in 15th. Philip Howe, 16th. Jeremy Bush in 17th. Cameron Cousins in 18th. Isaac Summers in 19th. And then I think there's a couple drivers who didn't set a qualifying time. Or maybe not.
Nope, that's our field for today, and there's your weather conditions as well. 27 degrees track temp. I think that is the same as last night as well, in the TCR series that runs every Wednesday night. Just 7 laps for the sprint race. Time runs out, we are going green, and it is away we go. Nice even start, as always, in the cars that are very easy to roll off the line. And we will head down towards Copse, the right-hander that leads us towards Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel Curve, the part of the track that remains nowadays in Silverstone. And around the outside goes Mitchell McLeod and Matthew Mites to take away P3 straight away.
Yep, first and second still in the order they run, but behind that, a little bit of battling going on. You can definitely see Paul Beatty having a look there. Sean Doyle, I think, also picks off one from Braden Martin.
Yeah, they were 3 wide coming out of Copse, and glad they got that sorted out before they head through these S's, the famed corners as we know them. They're now onto what is now known as the Hangar Straight on board with Mario Vartanian, who's picked up 1 spot off the line. He's popped himself ahead of someone. Peter Wilkinson, he's had a very bad start. He's lost 4 spots, and Vartanian having to go defensive because Dennis Hancock wants to get around his outside in front of him as well. Some side-by-side action. Julian Mookie now capitalizing on Hancock getting up high and dry. Look at McLeod to the lead of the race. He started this one 4th.
Yeah, had a massive run onto the Hangar Straight, got maybe a double toe off Williams and Skurlock, and then just went right around the outside of them before the section of corners at the end. You can see someone off in the background there.
No. Oh, how did he miss him? He's Ira Felberg, that was, skated back across the racetrack in front of someone who must have seen their life flash before their eyes. Meanwhile, McLeod has lost the lead of the race because Kobe Williams has gone back through to take it away. Skurlock, after starting on the pole, is back to 3rd as Now there's a spinner behind them. Julian Mookie, he just avoids getting collected by cars behind, and they're fighting for the lead once more. McLeod can't take it.
Teammates Mookie and Martin. Looks like it might have been Martin who just saved it, nearly went around. Here at the lead, McLeod back in the draft of Kobe Williams, and I think they're going to swap for the third time on this lap.
This is brilliant stuff. McLeod showing his muscle early. Kobe Williams wanting to fight this one, and Skurlock, who we haven't seen so far this season, showing that he is a force to be reckoned with in the Skippies after he took that pole position. Bit of a lackluster first lap, though. He'll be disappointed with that. Now, there's an incident in the background. Braden Martin, who we reckon was the one that spun in that back section of the circuit, has spun again. It's because he drove into the back of the car in front. They both went around. And someone else spun, I think, trying to avoid it. Staying with the replay as well here, David.
Yeah, Michael Skurlock's going side by side for third place. He gets a little bit of the curb there, and that loops him around. And unfortunately, in the middle of this high-speed sequence of corners, not everyone could avoid him. So quite a bit of damage for Skurlock there. And
who was that?
Might have been Vartanian who tagged him there.
And who was that in the grass as well? Just avoiding it by not even being anywhere near on the racetrack. This is Mario's view as he comes through. I think this is Beckett's. And then the Chapel Curve. Tell you what, if he has his particle effects up, he wouldn't have even seen that car through the smoke.
Yeah, it was all just unfolding in front of him. So that was some action at the front, where it continues to be action at the front side by side for the lead. McLeod, underneath the bridge, is going to take the lead back. But Matthew Mites, Sean Doyle, absolutely in the picture here as well. Look at them so close to the battling two at the front.
You know, I didn't see this circuit as being a big slipstream line, but now that I think about it, the average speed is way up there, isn't it? This back section is probably the slowest you go. By taking those chicanes out, it's keeping these cars in very close touch with each other. And as we've seen already, moves into the bridge, becoming very viable, thanks to the lack of a chicane and tight little almost hairpin that normally precedes it. As we complete lap number 2. McLeod obviously fastest, our first full flying lap. 3 cops, Williams right behind him. You can see him there in the distance as we're on board with Doyle, who's getting ever closer to the back of Mites. What about a move into Maggots? Shows a nose, goes up the inside. Mites going to let him go.
Yeah, interesting little move, that one. Just deciding it's not worth it and he wants to stick with the pack for the moment. Kobe Williams is sticking with him. Cameron Cousins and Philip Howe got some issues here with cops. So, corner that's very, very quick, but still caught out a couple drivers. Here's Williams with the big hanger straight toe, and look, he rolls out of it. That is interesting to see. Lap 3 of 7, just deciding he's happy in second place.
Yeah, Kobe is a surprisingly smart little racer. And he'll probably be recognizing that, barring mistakes, no one's really going to pull away today. Not in this race, at least. So if he can just sit there and wait and then pounce on the final lap, that might be his best chance. No pit stops in this one, and even in the second one when we do pit, you don't need to take fuel, so it's not a fuel conservation issue. In fact, you'd want to burn off as much fuel as you could to get the car lighter and therefore quicker, as we see Braden Martin, who's had another issue, this time up at Stowe. The leaders, meanwhile, through the bridge section, through... Is it called the stadium section?
Oh, you kind of call it that. I think the BRDC clubhouse overlooks this section of track, so it's a popular vantage place, and it's also where some of the overtaking has been happening today.
This is, of course, where the main straight is nowadays. It still exists, modern Silverstone, but it is the back straight and no longer features 2 bridges over it. So glad this part of the racetrack was kept. Such a high speed balance through that corner. Try to carry as much as you can, but not run a little bit too wide, because it can bite if you grab that AstroTurf or little concrete ribbons that are on the outside of that track. And then try to keep your speed up through Maggots and Beckett's and Chapel Curve while getting the best exit possible onto the hanger straight. because there's big opportunities for a move up into Stowe. In fact, Kobe might have one here if he wants to go on with it.
If he wants to is the critical point in that one. You can see that Mites has dropped back from 3rd into 5th now. Paul Beatty's gone and picked up another position. Still sticking with these guys, and Sean Doyle as well in 3rd with another great view of the lead battle and what on earth is going to go on at the lead of the race as we get towards the end of this short 7-lap race. I mean, it's really, soon it's going to be 2 laps to go, then it's going to be 1 to go, and someone is going to win.
That's generally how it goes, but you are right. He's going to have to make this move at some point. Look how close he is here. Really strong. Slipstream's working a treat. In fact, he just steps it out of the way of McLeod through that fast left, which cuts out the chicane. Down the hill and back up again. Track dips away from you as you head under the bridge. And Sean Doyle's just lurking in 3rd. So it's a 3-car scrap. Haven't spoken about Doyle too much, but he's right there with them. Beatty back there in 4th has got Matthew Mites for company behind him. And that's your top 5, with 3.2 seconds separating them.
Yeah, Doyle's done a good job. He was the fastest driver last lap. He set the fastest lap of the race. And of course, they've had to come across the timing line and all that will update. But he's kept it clean, found the little bit of space he needed to slipstream off the 2 in front and really make it a 3-car fight.
All 3 of them are about a second quicker than Paul Beatty and Matthew Mites. So they're continuing to stretch that gap. Doyle does look very quick. There is every possibility he pounces and steals us away from Kobe and McLeod. And now, if I was Kobe, I'd be slightly worried, because if I backed out of a move and the momentum that he's carrying down Hanger Straight, that's what Doyle needs to pass him. And Doyle's not going to wait, because he needs to pass 2 cars. And there's now just 2 more opportunities to make a move into Stowe.
Yeah, I get what you mean. McLeod's under a lot of pressure here because he's got 2 cars drafting off him from behind. Kobe Williams is now in a position where it's harder for him to roll out of the throttle with Doyle right behind him. And we've seen double passes work with how strong the slipstream is in this car. So Doyle has really worked himself into an interesting position where there's a lot of pressure on the 2 guys in front.
That static shot a second ago was fantastic. You could see the attitude of the cars as they flicks through the left and then transitioned back to the right. Williams again steps out of the wake of McLeod. That gives Doyle the inside run. Puts him on the outside for here, the right-hander. He could have kept it there. Another switchback as McLeod tags the grass. Had to quickly snap on the steering wheel to save that. Good job.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting between these 3. They're all pretty good in a skippy, but they're also quite level heads for the most part here. I think we can see these guys battle pretty close side by side towards the end, and no one make any big mistakes. Should be a ripping one.
And then don't forget, we get to do it again with our... It'll probably be about 12-lap feature race with 2-tire stop as well. Just after this, qualifying will set the grid for that one. Focus now is on this scrap for the lead. This is what we love to see. This is why we love sim racing and racing in general, is these fights, these battles. It is a test of nerve and a battle of wits when it comes to slipstreaming scraps like this one. I reckon McLeod and Kobe both made a mistake there. Look at the extra speed Doyle already has coming onto the Hanger Straight. Williams going to be a sitting duck.
Yeah, exactly. Doyle also set up the exit really, really well to carry a lot of speed, but now he pulls out of the slipstream. He's still got enough speed that he's going down the inside. Now it's looking like Doyle up into 2nd place.
Yes, it's for 2nd, and it makes winning a lot harder being 3rd, but it was so important for Kobe to recognize he's lost a spot and not fight it, because if they start running side by side, McLeod skips away.
I reckon Club's quite a different corner with the different entry there, different speed, very different to when you got the tight chicane before it, and then the Abbey chicane removal makes this just absolutely flat out in all conditions. A lot of speed for Doyle.
And for the first time in a little while, McLeod went a little bit defensive. Doyle shows the nose, filling the mirrors of your race leader. Coming through the final section for the penultimate time. It's going to come down to the last lap. Is there anything McLeod can do to break this toe? Because if he doesn't, he is going to have to fight for this one. Doyle and Williams are going to draft right up to the back of him. He can't afford the mistake he made in Beckett's last lap. Again on this final lap. Here we go, across the stripe. There's one more lap at Silverstone.
Everyone in the grandstand there looking absolutely thrilled, as they should be, because McLeod needs to be precise, and Doyle's made a little bit of a dog's breakfast of cops. Let's Williams go and have a look down the inside of Maggots. This is what Mitch McLeod needs to get away his second and third battling. .7 of a second for McLeod. Is that going to be enough? Williams can't catch him. Is Doyle going to try and come back at Williams, maybe slow him up and let Mitch McLeod get away in the lead? They're pulling out of the draft of your leader, which is a good sign for the leading car of McLeod.
That
But
little
Williams has
scrap.
the inside from Doyle.
It's all McLeod needed to pull that little margin for the first time this whole race. Doyle didn't want to let Kobe go, but he recognised he had to. I think then again at Stowe, he recognised they can't go side by side. They need to catch McLeod, because they can still get there. Remember, we're flat out until we get towards the bridge. You're going to have to send absolutely everything at him. Doyle, sit behind. Don't go for it. He does exactly that. Now they're going to fight. This slipstream's just not quite powerful enough now. McLeod's might have this as Doyle goes around the outside, holds it there, gets himself the preferred lane for the next corner. Williams is struggling, and he concedes the place. Doyle up to second, but out front, Mitchell McLeod, turns out leading, heading on to the final lap, was the way to go as they battled behind him. And so Mitchell McLeod, from fourth on the grid, got to the front on lap number 1, and holds it to the end. McLeod is going to win race 1 at Silverstone. And it's going to be second for Doyle, third for Kobe Williams.
Behind them also, the battle between Beatty and Matthew Mites is a drag race across the line, and it appears like Paul Beatty has just held on to that one. Some other little battles further down the field that we just couldn't quite have our eyes on because the lead was so spicy. That includes Dennis Hancock and Jeremy Bush here. Big move up through the field from Bush. He started down in 16th or so. Finds himself looking at 12th. Ira Felberg after his spin. That's 13th. And Michael Skurlock, huge, what could have been. Race got away from him very early there.
Good news for him. Good news for Braden Martin. Isaac Summers, that's a creative line to finish off the race. Good news is there is another qualifying session. They can put themselves back at the front for race 2, which will be coming up in just a few minutes. Here's your full results then. The winning margin, 9/10 of a second for Mitchell McLeod over Sean Doyle in second. Covey Williams picks up that third place and another podium for him. Paul Beatty, 4th. Matthew Mites, 5th. Nathan Verdi, Mario Vartanian, Peter Wilkinson, Julian Mookie, and Vic Bent-Velsen made up the rest of your top 10. 20 seconds away from the lead at the end of the 10th place car.
And Dennis Hancock in 11th, as we said, from Jeremy Bush. Ira Felberg, 13th. 14th place for Michael Skurlock. Braden Martin in 15th. Philip House, 16th. Isaac Summers, 17th. Leon Williams, 18th. And 3 laps down, looks like a retirement for Cameron Cousins.
And that's race 1 done. Part 1 of the show done. Stay with us here on Simspeed TV. We're going to go to a quick break. But on the other side of this, it is race 2 from Silverstone.
The field is rolling on the back straightaway.
Get ready. This is going to be tight.
Welcome back to the historic Silverstone circuit for round 4 of the Aussie Car Formula Skip Barber Season 3. Proudly presented by Simspeed Virtual Motorsport Mentor and broadcast by us at Simspeed TV. We are just heading into qualifying right about now, actually. 3 laps to set the fastest time you can, and that'll set the grid for our 12-lap feature race. Hey, I guess lap's right. Back on race 1. 12 laps. Got to pit once for 2 tyres. David alongside of me. How do we reckon this is going to shake up the battle we saw in race 1?
It'll shake it up, that's for sure. I've misplaced my crystal ball, so I can't tell you exactly what it's going to do. But it's certainly at least another race, another opportunity for Michael Skurlock to try and get himself on the podium. It's a chance for some of the maybe less aggressive, but maybe more thinking drivers to outsmart some of their competitors. So, yeah, definitely could be the one where we see Paul Beatty run really strong in the first half and then somehow throw it away. Or he could come good this time.
Yeah, come on, Paul. We're waiting on it. We're waiting on that solid result again. Oh, yeah, anyway, he got it last week, didn't he?
I wouldn't say it if he hadn't said it himself.
Yeah, I think Paul got it last week. That solid result. I honestly don't know. My memory's foggy past 5 o'clock this evening. My memory spans about an hour and a half, and then it gets locked away and never found again. So here is Beatty, down and up. One of those places that doesn't translate very well. I was speaking to a Scottish man, actually, on a broadcast a couple of days ago. It was also at the Silverstone circuit, but the modern one, about the drop-off just after Stowe, and how it is much more noticeable in real life. I would say the Bruges section there is probably one of those sorts of places as well, and quite famously, everything at Bathurst is bigger in real life. As Beatty is going to begin his first flying lap of the session. Should be one of our first drivers to set a time then. Looking something in the region of a minute 21.
Yeah, so 10-minute session, and the drivers do their outlap and then have 3 flying laps. And based on the size of this circuit, I think everyone really needed to push on and get out there if they were going to actually fit all of those laps within the 10 minutes. I mean, it's not Snetterton 200 here. This is basically the full Grand Prix layout with a couple of the chicanes cut, but that doesn't take a lot of length out of the track. So yeah, on to our first flying laps, and with only 7 and some minutes left in the session, they are really going to need to press on if they're going to get that 3rd lap in. The first one, the tyres are still a little cold, but maybe not quite so bad on the longer lap like here, where they've had a couple more meters to warm them up. But still, the first lap, you've really typically got to focus on as a banker lap, really set that time, and then push hard from there.
The more I think about it, the more I'm second-guessing my 1 minute 21 remark. Come to think of it, I don't think that's the times they were doing in race 1.
It was more 1 minute 50s.
Yeah. 2 minute 9, fastest lap last race, says Jay.
I'm sharing your goldfish memory on the lap times from race 1 there, but certainly, yeah, big lap, and these aren't high horsepower cars. They get to carry a little bit of speed with the, with the chicanes cut. That's so noticeable at Abbey, which is normally, a braking zone and 2 apexes, and is absolutely flat out when you cut the chicane. Here's Paul Beatty to set his first lap time onto the board, and what is it going to look like? You can see it's definitely going to be more than 2 minutes.
More than 2 minutes, and definitely not a 2 minute 9. 2 minute 3.258. First time on the board. That is what we are all chasing out there. But Velson falls half a second, 2.5 seconds short of that marker. Sean Doyle, what can he do? Running 3rd for most of that race. Finished 2nd in the end as a flurry of times just got set. Doyle crosses the line. He goes to the top with a 2 minute 3.1.
Yep, Nathan Verney sets one in 6th place, and you can see pretty close at the top there between Doyle and Beatty on their first laps, and then quite a bit of drop off to some other drivers who might not have pushed it so hard on lap 1 of 3, knowing there's still some opportunity to improve, some opportunity to warm up the tyres a little bit more gently, perhaps. And from Ira Felberg, that one there is not going to set the timing tower alight, but as we say, still half the session to go, still some opportunity. Isaac Summers got a little ginger there.
Yeah, a little bit of ginger, that's for sure. Whoop. Saved it.
I shouldn't have said
Ira's,
anything.
Heard you calling him out, and then he gave it too much throttle. Ira's coming off the back of a first ever podium last night in the Ozicar TCR series, so his confidence should be pretty high. That came in race 2. Wonder if he can replicate it in race 2 tonight. Here comes Michael Skurlock, pole sitter for race 1. Had a shocking race. Had a spin after a slightly tardy first lap. Can he put himself back on the pole? Not if he keeps up those times. A 205.5, maybe conserving his tyres for the end of the session. Kobe Williams, meanwhile, pops up to the top. 3/10 clear of everyone else. Paul Beatty, meanwhile, is about to finish his second lap. Expect an improvement. It's part of the course as the tyres are warmed up now. But how much will it be? 202.591. That puts him on top. But a big improvement it was. And you would expect that the rest should be able to find that sort of an improvement as well. As Ben Velsen jumps up half a dozen spots and goes to 6th. Mario Vartanian crosses the line. He goes to 5th. Braden Martin and Peter Wilkinson just put themselves up inside the top 5 as well. Dennis Hancock crosses the line. He goes 5th. Matthew Mites is 8th. Brent Velsen went 11th to 6th. He's already back to 10th. Matthew Mites goes 2nd, and Brent Velsen's back where he started.
Yeah, big flurry of times coming through there. And of course, second lap, all of them were improvements. Some drivers also improve on the third lap, but not necessarily all of them. So that second lap, flurry of times, as you say, really saw it shuffle around and then kind of end up not that far from what it was before. But we've got 3 drivers within about just over 2/10 for the front of the grid. And also had an eye on, there was about 4 minutes, 10 seconds left in the session when Skurlock crossed the line with 2 laps to go. So if he really hustles on, he'll get that third lap in. But otherwise, it was right on the knife edge of he left leaving pit lane a little bit late and might run out of time.
How about that lap from Kobe Williams? 202.1. Goes 4/10 clear of everybody else. Now, Skurlock's first lap was quite slow, so I reckon he's saving up, and he should be able to improve not only on lap 2, but lap 3 as well. Should be one of those drivers that does that third lap improvement. What does the second lap look like for him as we see Ira Felberg cross the line as well? Felberg doesn't register a time. Still, Skurlock goes to 8th, the 203.5. Still quite a way off the pace. Isaac Summers crosses the line. He doesn't register a time either. And his run through Cops has already been absolutely butchered. Here comes Beatty, his final lap of the session. Cutting up last corner as tight as he can. Crosses the line. 202.289. It's not fast enough to eclipse Kobe Williams. So Beatty will start no higher than 2nd. But Velsen abandons his final attempt. Mario Vartanian's 11th. Make that only 8th. So not a fantastic improvement late on for him. Braden Martin crosses the line. He is 1,000th of a second slower than his previous best effort. Jeremy Bush crosses the line. He doesn't find an improvement. In fact, he doesn't even register a lap time. Wilkinson is going to come to pit lane. And now we look at Mitchell McLeod, who was 4th. This is where he started in race 1. He's on his 2nd lap. So he's not going to get a 3rd lap in. He's got to hope that this is as fast as he can go as he comes out of the last corner. Or rather, this is the last corner, whatever you want to call it, and comes to the line. What is it, David? It's a 202.1. He goes to the pole.
Super close at the top of the field there. You saw Sean Doyle just go 100th of a second short of Kobe Williams. Williams, though, has one last lap here. It's looking pretty good. Timing line comes up round about there, but it is enough to take pole position away from Mitch McLeod, and I think Williams is kind of happy with that. What about Skurlock? 20 seconds left in the session. Is he going to get to the line? I think he might just.
Williams will be very happy with that lap. Only driver into the 201. Skurlock then trying to squeak to the line. He's going to get there, but is it going to put him up inside the top 10? Anywhere near the pole? He got him race 1. 202.0. He goes to second and just snatches the front row away from McLeod right at the death. That is your grid, and this is how they line up for race 2 at Silverstone. It's Williams and Skurlock in row 1. It's a reverse from where they were in race 1. Mitchell McLeod, Sean Doyle, 3rd and 4th. I think that's a reverse from race 1 as well. Beatty and Martin are on row 3. Mites and Hancock on row 4. Verney and Wilkinson, your top 10.
If you hadn't watched the qualifying, you would have thought we just swapped the left and right-hand side of the grid for the first 2 rows. But behind that, in 11th place is Mario Vartanian, Jeremy Bush in 12th, Vic Bentvelts in 13th, Philip Howe, 14th place, Julian Mookie, 15th. Ira Felberg, right at the death, also managed to squeak in a qualifying time after throwing away the first and second laps. It's only good enough for him to start 16th, so those tyres might have taken a bit of punishment. Leon Williams then going to start 17th, Cameron Cousins 18th, Scott Melville in 19th, Isaac Summers 20th.
That's your field, and we are green. Just like that, we are racing once more. 12 laps ahead of us, a 2-tyre stop to be had as well. Into Cops, McLeod looking to gain a spot like he did last race, and he will get it up the inside of Skurlock. He goes to second, and Skurlock, for the second time of asking, loses at least 1 spot on lap 1. In fact, he's got to watch out for Sean Doyle racing up behind him, is splitting the gap between himself and Paul Beatty as they head towards Maggots, and around the outside of him, Skurlock loses another spot.
Super cold tyres on the race start, and it just doesn't look like Skurlock is comfortable with that until they warm up a little bit. Same with qualifying, where it took him a while to get there. And Beatty solidly under pressure from Braden Martin, who just rolled out of it a little bit, and they all head down the hanger straight for the first time on race 2.
Beatty's going to just cover off that inside, moved it across about a car's width to the right to make sure that Martin didn't go for a late lunge. Up there at Stowe, he's got Matthew Mites, Hancock, and the rest of the field lined up behind him as well. Your top 2 have pulled a bit of a gap back to Sean Doyle and the rest. That is Williams, and that is McLeod. Battle resumes from race 1. Doyle 3rd, just like race 1. Can he drive up to them like he did, or...
It's going to be the replay of the Kobe Williams gardening service. Cold tyres, not a lot of front grip. He tries to get the throttle open and pushes it wide and across the runoff there. I think that's just allowed to stand, but yeah, certainly showing cold tyres all around. Real difficult for Kobe Williams as he's pushing on with McLeod.
Skurlock has got back by Doyle, who almost went for the crossover and decided against it in the end, but he's still fighting with him. Oh no, there's a driver in the background and up into the air for Mario Vartanian for the 2nd race in a row. He is the one that feels the pinch, and he has damage on lap 1.
Yeah, it all sort of started trying to go 3 wide there. Around the outside, there just wasn't room, and then 3 condensed into 1. And Matthew Mites, Mario Vartanian. Around the outside, Jeremy Bush, I think, there, who had a bit of a dive.
Yeah, it was, and just Vartanian, there's nothing he could do. Oh, actually, Vartanian got into the back of him. That's what started it. So, Vartanian, actually, maybe to blame for that one. Meanwhile, Doyle, Beatty, Mites, Hancock, Verney, Vartanian, Jeremy Bush, Philip Howe, and Julian Mookie on pit lane.
Basically, half the field, 9th on down, have now pitted. Your top 8 stay out, including Kobe Williams, Mitchell McLeod, Michael Skurlock. And Braden Martin, let's mention him as well.
Yeah, he's there in 4th. Just trying to figure out... Yes, your top 2 have a pretty good lead, but Doyle and Skurlock, their closest challengers, both dove in. Well, Doyle did. Skurlock stayed out. Excuse me. There is Doyle. Driving down the right-hand side of the racetrack while everyone else takes the left. There'll be no moves made up to Stowe on this lap. No one's quite close enough, and if they're smart, they'll work together using the slipstream to go as fast as they can so that they can maybe try and undercut McLeod and Williams up front. And to that same point, these two won't fight because they don't want to get undercut. They want to do the overcut. And will they react instantly, or are they going to go a few more laps? Let's find out as we come out of, I'm going to call it the last corner. Pit lane on the right.
Had a mistake. Skurlock must have had a mistake. He's gone and dropped behind Braden Martin and then dropped a couple seconds there as well.
Kobe's come in. Skurlock, yeah, has dropped a lot of time. He stays out, as does Martin. So Kobe, the only one from the top four to come in on that lap. Ben Velson and Felberg, Leon Williams, Peter Wilkinson stay out as well.
Speaking of, Peter Wilkinson's having a look at Leon Williams, going to try to go down the inside for Cops. I think that can work if you really throw it in there and find the grip. He gets given plenty of space. In fact, they both give each other more real estate than I thought there was. And Williams drops down off the jacks. He's going to rejoin the race.
But where will it be? Well, I'll tell you where it's going to be. It's going to be a long way in front of Sean Doyle and Co. So there they go. 3 Cops. Kobe Williams is already on course for Maggots. Zoom out, zoom out. You might just see him on the left. Oh, there he is in the distance. Bright green car. Can't miss him.
Except when he's on the grass, and then the lime green almost blends in with the lush British countryside.
Here's a modem simulation replay. Martin already in front of Skurlock at this point. Has he handed back that spot based off the live position of 5th? I would say he probably has. And around he goes. Got it wrong on the entry, and that resulted in a spin through Beckett's. Oh no! Peter Wilkinson.
Ira Felberg.
Felberg in front of Wilkinson. Took too much of the inside curb, probably after seeing Martin there on the outside and trying to avoid him. Spun himself out.
Distracted drivers cause accidents, it seems. So that was unfortunate for 2 drivers there who might have some of their strategy plans undone a little bit because they were trying to build a gap before pitting later on. Gone and lost some of that now.
On board with Sean Doyle, still fending off the masses and looking pretty comfortably as he does it. McLeod, meanwhile, does a purple lap, free from the shackles of Kobe Williams, who's about 6 seconds in front of Doyle. So Doyle really lost a bunch of time, didn't he? He wasn't that far behind when he pitted. It'd be interesting to see where McLeod comes out. Not McLeod. At Skurlock.
Yeah, big lap means a big overcut, though. So, and you leave the pit lane immediately into Maggots, Beckett's, and some really front-loaded corners there. And, can easily lose 2-3 seconds on that outlap with the cold front tyres. And then also add the fact that he's been looking very, very cautiously in his mirrors as well. Probably didn't help him set the strongest couple outlaps he needed to not get overcut by quite rapid Kobe Williams.
Jeremy Bush has spun. That's at Cops on the inside. Wonder if he got it a little bit too wide on the exit and it's flipped him down there. He's going to fall in behind Philip Howe. So he's back in 16th place now. Paul Beatty wanting to have a look at Doyle. Up at Stowe, he's going to get there. Doyle's going to fight him. Trying to hold the car on that outside line. Carry his speed off the corner. And then into this high speed left and then right. Doyle will fend off the charge of Paul Beatty there. Good little exchange.
Dennis Hancock takes a good line. He's going to get a good run down what's an even longer straight through what I'm now calling the Abbey Kink towards Bridge.
Into Bridge, is there going to be a move? Yes, there is. Paul Beatty, this time he takes it away. Doyle can't hold it around the outside there like he did at the end of race 1. But Beatty's gone too deep. He's basically sold the move right back to him. He had it wrapped up as well. That's disappointing. Just a little bit too aggressive into that corner as Purple again goes McLeod out front. We'll see what sort of comparative pace Williams has now, because he's about to complete his first full lap since pitting. 2:02.388, so it's half a second slower than McLeod. So McLeod here might be on for a decent overcut.
He'll certainly be building a little bit of time advantage, but depends if he's going to pit on the last lap or a little bit before. He is going to be under pressure with cold tyres right at the end. Battle continues here, Hancock and Beatty.
Oh, very close as they tipped it in. It was a very aggressive duck to the inside from Hancock. Very sudden. It doesn't work out, and unfortunately it has dragged, unfortunately for them, luckily for Vernie, it has dragged him into the picture, as 2 tyres in the grass is a no-go for getting good exits onto big long straights. And Dennis Hancock says, "Thank you very much. I shall take this spot now." Sean Doyle's running away while they do all this battling. No, stop coming left! He wasn't clear. He tried to drift back towards the racing line, David. There was still a car there.
Yeah, there almost might have been wheel-to-wheel contact there.
There was, I think.
Quite sure, but yeah, I wouldn't be so happy with that were I Paul Beatty.
Saw Beatty's name flash up on the in-game radio as well, so I reckon he's probably already voiced his displeasure. Here's a replay. All stemmed from that tiny error from Beatty. And then if we watch it over his right shoulder and look at the right front of Beatty's car, look at his tyre. Come on. That's the left, that's the right. Watch this. Encroaching, little touch. Actually quite fortunate there, both of them.
Yeah, and Race Control being very, very active in this race. They did give out a drive-through penalty for Mario Vartanian for when he went and tapped, I think it was Matthew Mites, around earlier in the race. So they've got their eyes on these things. That didn't lead to a huge accident, so I'm not sure where
I wouldn't
quite
expect
going to see a penalty in that one. But certainly, if it had gone across over the line, if it had, if it only completed the pass because of the contact, then you'd probably expect a penalty.
Yeah, if they turned each other around, there'd be some questions to be answered. There we go. That's more like it. Williams responds. So it's the fastest lap of the race. That was only, though, 2 tenths quicker than McLeod. Needs to find just a little bit more. But still, the fight is there. It is not over with as we are halfway through this race. Vernie leading Beatty. Both of them hang on a minute, I've got myself turned around. Hancock leading Vernie, then Beatty in this battle for what is currently P10. Still, there are 7 drivers yet to make their stops. A few of those will be behind this trio. All going well and smooth as Vernie looking to take away 10th.
Yeah, big move down the inside. Didn't quite stick, but he'll still hold the inside for the reprofiled club corner here. And in the end, Hancock, I think, really, really rolls out of that one. Beatty comes through as well. So Hancock going a bit backwards in that sequence of corners, and suddenly feel like Beatty is back up to speed as well.
I wonder if we're going to see any of these drivers peel off now, halfway through this race. Going to split it down 50-50? Or are they going to go for the complete opposite of the early pitters? Peter Wilkinson is going to go 50-50. He comes in at the end of lap 6. He's the only driver from that group to do so.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be much strategic advantage to taking a pit stop at the halfway point of the race. Either early, get it out of the way and try to then, pick up some speed and undercut like Kobe Williams, or go really long, use the clean air, the lack of traffic, and the warm tyres to belt in some quick laps and then take that pit stop late. Going wishy-washy in the middle, it's not the best of both worlds. It just sort of hurts you both ways.
And Peter Wilkinson is going to be a long way behind the Hancock-Vernie Beatty battle. They've already gone. They're into maggots now. Wilkinson just coming out of pit lane. He will get out, though, quite comfortably ahead of Julian Mookie. And in fact, Matthew Mites just rejoining the racetrack 4 laps down, trying to salvage some last gasp points, and he completes just 1 lap. He'll go ahead of Cameron Cousins. And Isaac Summers, in fact. They'll both go ahead of Isaac Summers because Cousins is back out on the racetrack.
Moment, Cody Williams 29 seconds behind Mitchell McLeod. I'm seeing 34, 35 seconds for a pit lane transit time. So that one is definitely going to be close. Beatty and Vernie at the far end of the circuit.
Vernie's got this. Beatty's in an awkward spot. You don't want to be wide through here because it really compromises you into this right-hander where you need a good exit because it leads on to that long run towards bridge. So Beatty set himself up nicely. Now he could fire it down the inside. He's going to do exactly that. Good
Easily
move.
done there by Beatty.
And a new fastest lap as well for McLeod. That's marginally quicker than the one Williams did earlier. So in terms of lap time, they are going toe-to-toe. As Ben Velsen dives to the lane, he's going to be a long way behind this scrap as well. So it's looking like this battle between these guys might be for top 5, definitely. Maybe even a 4th, maybe 3rd. I'm trying to work out where Braden Martin might rejoin.
I've got to try and add about like 30 to 19, getting about 50. I think Martin Pitts now, he ends up around about 10th place, and Vic Bent Veltson. Some of these guys who pitted early have actually found a decent bit of speed.
Well, Doyle started 4th, Beatty started 5th. The good one here is Vernie started 9th. Oh, careful there. Almost ran into the gearbox with Beatty through Beckett's. A question I asked the other day on a broadcast is, where does Maggots end and Beckett's begin? Do you know the answer to that, David?
No, I just know that Chappell comes afterwards. So Vernie down the inside of Beatty. He's done this one before, got in a bit too hot, but this time I think he gave himself a little bit more space. But doesn't carry great speed off the corner. But has a good line.
Yeah, carries just enough. Hancock maybe starting to drop just a little bit from these guys. He's not sticking to them like glue. He's hanging on by a tether. McLeod goes around for another trip. 2:01.3. That's a purple lap. Raises the bar, or rather lowers the bar. Again. How's the attitude on that slide from Beatty?
Significant. These guys have really been wrestling them around, throwing them, especially through the changes of direction at Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel, and all the other places where the car's turning one way, they flick it the other, and the tail can really get loose in those quick changes of direction. Almost dropped Dennis Hancock, interestingly. He's still there and thereabouts, but he's not absolutely mixing it in this fight like he was earlier. Won't take much to bring him back in, though.
No, yeah, he's hanging on because of the slipstream, but mainly because they keep going side by side in front of him. After the bridge section, he closed it in quite a bit. After Beatty threw it up the inside there. Through Maggots, through Beckett's, he loses time. Gets it all back. And most of it back at Hanger Straight, and then the rest of it, if they go side by side at Stowe. So he's playing himself into a shot here, but I think outright pace he's just lacking, but track position, very key. He's got himself that track position, so good job so far. I'll tell you what, he threw it into Stowe, didn't he? See him close up the back of that train.
I think we got accused the other week of not going all in on calling Nathan Vernie Nathan Turney. He pushed wide earlier, but now he's, I think, leveled it off a bit with Paul Beatty. McLeod's staying out for another lap. What's this one going to be? Yet further improvement. Not quite. He matches at another 2:01.3. Interestingly, Williams responded to 2:01.4. which I think just keeps him in touch there. But he has not had the fastest lap of the race for a little while.
Braden Martin has just pitted. This has put Skurlock into second. Or was Skurlock ahead of him anyway? That's actually confused me a little bit. He was 9 seconds ahead of him. So I think Skurlock's their marker for getting a podium. Beatty, Hancock, and Vern. Because Braden Martin's going to be a long way back. Now, if Braden Martin ends up 9 seconds behind these guys, then these guys are battling for a podium, because that's where Skurlock will come out. Meanwhile, Director J shoots down my ideas behind the scenes.
Yeah, because Sean Doyle in the warplane is shooting for greatness.
You know,
ahead of these guys.
The reason we forgot about... Well, I forgot about him. He's just been quiet this one, hasn't he? He snuck away from this group and disappeared. Well, they kept battling. They lost his toe and he's run away. And he's not in a battle with anyone. Yes, he's right behind Felberg, but one of them is pitted, the other one hasn't. So Doyle, looking comfy. Kobe Williams lost 6/10 to McLeod in the last lap, so that battle is starting to seesaw back the other way. Braden Martin came out, by the way. 11 seconds behind Hancock, Beatty, and Verdi. Here we go. McLeod in from the lead.
Yeah, it'd have to be this lap for everyone who is going to pit for reasons of timing lines and pit stop locations, etc., 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 ad nauseum. So McLeod, Skurlock in, Ira Felberg, the only one yet to pit after them. It's probably also going to have to stop this lap. So it's all on. How's this lap been for Kobe Williams? How much time is there? It's only just going up on the jacks for McLeod now.
Although it would be mildly amusing if Ira did not pit on this lap and got bit by his own rule. Nope, he hasn't made that mistake. Ira's come into pit lane. So everyone now has done their pit stops, so he's in the process of doing them. There's McLeod out of pit road. There's Kobe flying through cops. He's going to get within slipstream range, I think.
I think so. With 2 laps of this big circuit still to go, those front tyres are going to be giving him absolutely nothing for McLeod. Kobe Williams, meanwhile, is on an absolute tear, and I think he'll even be in the draft by the hanger straight here. And then can McLeod hold on as those tyres just begin to warm up a little bit?
Behind them, Sean Doyle got by Michael Skurlock. Skurlock's just a little bit further away than Kobe is, relative to the car in front. And then about a 4-second gap back to the Beatty, Vernie, Hancock train, which is slowly dropping the Hancock.
So there goes Beatty down the inside of Vernie once again. Familiar place for these guys to battle at Stowe. And that will help Hancock just keep in touch. And then up the road, and they'll be able to see him. Michael Skurlock has rejoined between Doyle and that battle. So makes it a little more interesting around this section of the track. 1/10 of a second for the lead.
Look at the lead. It's not a 10th anymore. It's dead even, and now it's in favour of Kobe Williams. The undercut works for him. He leads again, because he was leading just as he dived off to pit road. So it's going to come down to the last lap here. McLeod's tyres still coming up to temperature. Is that a lapped car? It is. It was. It's there or thereabouts. It's somewhere there. But they've gone past it. Cameron Cousins using all of the road out of the last corner for Kobe Williams. 1 lap to go in race 2. This race not decided yet. P3, it is still in favour of Sean Doyle by a comfortable gap. In fact, Skurlock is more likely to lose to Beatty than I think he is to gain a spot on Doyle. It was a purple lap for Kobe.
Yeah, it was. He's gone and set the fastest lap of the race. Picked up a really good toe, I think, hanger straight and through Abbey on Mitch McLeod. Didn't have any troubles getting past him. Had plenty of grip. So a combination of a good little toe and warm tyres gets Kobe Williams to the lead with the fastest lap. And now, if he could build a second on Mitch McLeod, that'd really, really, really help him. That is still a huge ask.
I tell you what, this is about the gap that that McLeod had on Williams last race, on the last lap. So he might have this one, Kobe. P3, P4, P5. There they are. 6th and 7th in the picture as well. Doyle, Skurlock, Beatty. Doyle disappears. Skurlock tries to shake some of the draft. Beatty doesn't worry about it. Hancock goes up the inside of Verney. Every time he gets dropped off the train, he just fights back. And now he's got a spot for those efforts as well.
He's got it for the moment with half a lap to go and a very aggressive looking Nathan Verney there at the lead. Williams has just gotten over a second. He's got a bit of traffic between himself. Oh, no traffic there, but it's looking pretty good for Williams.
Through the stadium section for the final time, the battle for P4 is now in the hands of Beatty, so Skurlock has lost out to him as well. Gonna have to be careful because Hancock and Verney are coming. Verney's throwing it up the inside of Hancock. Out front, Kobe Williams from the pole. He's going to win race 1. And a fantastic drive from the young kiddo. Mitchell McLeod comes home in 2nd. It is a podium as well for Sean Doyle in 3rd. P4, meanwhile, it's going to go to Beatty. Hancock's going to get 5th. Verney 6th. What happened to Skurlock on the final lap?
I'm not sure where, but I'm pretty sure Michael Skurlock picked up a slowdown somewhere because he really had to roll out of the speed, let a whole bunch of cars through. Not a great last lap for Michael Skurlock. It's all battles everywhere. Martin staying ahead of Wilkinson, and then there's 3 cars in the Bush League with Vartanian and Leon Williams here to the line. Vartanian, having done his pit stop and served a drive-through penalty, is not going to be able to recover to 13th place because the line is going to come up just in time to save Jeremy Bush, I'm pretty sure.
It does, and there was 0.04 of a second between them at the line in favour of Jeremy Bush. So Kobe Williams walks away victorious from race 2. Let's look at our full results then. At the end of another dreary day in the skies at England, but excitement on the racetrack. A 1.5 second advantage at the end. Kobe Williams wins. McLeod comes home in 2nd. Sean Doyle, a distant 3rd. Paul Beatty 4th. Hancock 5th. Verney just loses out and finishes 6th there. Skurlock falls to 7th after starting 2nd, so his 2 races really could have gone better today after some good qualifying performances. Martin 8th. Peter Wilkinson, Vic Van Velsen, 9th and 10th.
In 11th, Julian Mookie with Ira Felberg 12th. Then, great battle there. Jeremy Bush in 13th. You can see just squeaking it home. Head of Mario Vartanian and Leon Williams following them up. Philip Howe, the last car on the lead lap. We look at a bunch of guys who got tangled up, needed some repairs. Cameron Cousins, Matthew Mites, and Isaac Summers. I'm not sure we even might have seen him for 1 lap out on track. Scott Melville didn't take the start.
Another fantastic race. That was some really good action. We didn't know who was going to win that one until the final lap with the 2 completely polar opposite strategies from Kobe's undercut and McLeod's overcut, pitting as early and as late as they could respectively. We've got 2 rounds left in this Skip Barber season. Our final round departs the UK and heads to Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps because that is a trend that was followed by a Formula 4 series, I think it was.
No, it's because we ran out of Britain.
Yeah, in Formula 4 quite a few years ago. We ran out of Britain. You're right. Let's have a chat to Sean Doyle. Comes home in 3rd there in race 2, Sean. Pretty lonely race for you in that one, but race 1 was pretty action-packed. Talk us through your day.
Yeah, no, it was way better than the last week's race, mate. I just wanted to keep up with the pack and just stay clean.
Talk us through the battle in race 1 then. Battling away with Williams and McLeod. The lead was right there, the win was right there, but both of you falling just short. Battling on the last lap, seeming to let McLeod get away.
Yeah, I just wanted to hold back and just see what I could do, and then just the opportunity arose, so I just took Kobe, and then just couldn't quite get McLeod. But good result in the end.
Yes, a double podium, second and third. Sets you up nicely. Looking forward to the last 2 rounds of the season.
Yeah, can't wait. I love the UK tracks, mate.
We're going to Spa in round 6, right?
Oh well, that's all right. I can manage that one.
Hey, who do you want to thank for helping you get it done?
Look, I thank Scotty Harvey and White Knuckle Racing.
All right, mate. Thanks for joining us. Good job today.
Cheers, mate.
Sean Doyle comes home with a double podium. Also with a double podium, but with a race win to his name. Kobe Williams is standing by with David Haynes.
Kobe, let's talk about that pit stop race. Big divergence in strategy between yourself and Mitch McLeod. Were you keeping tabs on the gap, or was it just blind faith for a couple of laps there?
I was just blind faith. I was just pushing as hard as I could, trying to close the gap as much as possible. And then Mitchell ended up coming out in front of me by a second and a half, I think it was. But we managed to reel him in because he had the cold tyres.
When you see him in front of you there and you know he's going to be really struggling for front-end grip through all the sweeping corners, you know you got a battle on your hands, right? What kind of energy does that give you?
Oh, very good. It was very fun racing all night with both Mitchell and I'm pretty sure it was Sean in the first race. It was very close and really enjoyable.
What about the track layout we're using here at Silverstone, cutting out some of the chicanes, keeping the average speed high, probably also giving you guys more of an opportunity to overtake into bridge? Did that work in your favour, or did it keep people on your tail?
The track was very good. I liked this layout of Silverstone, and it was definitely very good for the closer racing because these cars really enjoy getting the toe off the others, and it's really good racing, yeah.
Well, you take the win in this race. You take the fastest lap as well. 1 round to go. What are you thinking about for Spa? Also, huge slipstream opportunities there.
Oh, it'll be another good race because the straights there are very long, and as I said, the toe is very good in this car, so it'll probably provide very close racing, and it'll be strategy in the second race for sure.
Well done, Kobe. Good points. We'll see you next week. Anyone you want to thank?
I'd like to thank Sixim, Cichlids, A1 Engines, DR Cards Australia, and anyone else that's helped.
There we go, Ryan, our race winner from race 2.
Yeah, good job from Kobe there to walk away with that race win. Now, that will bring us, I think, towards the end of our broadcast. Next week, we head to one more UK track before we wrap it up at Spa over at round 6, 7:30 Australian Eastern Daylight Time next week on Thursday night. Make sure you tune in. Make sure to like Simspeed Sports Network on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as well. But for tonight, from all of us, my name is Ryan Jones, David Haynes alongside me, and Jay Kennedy behind the scenes. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction. He's got rid of the outside of both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God! Oh, big crash! Oh my goodness! Half the field's gonna get rolled.
It's very close. These guys want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go.
Oh no! That's massive!
This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?